Hey guys, today we're working on my 97 GMC Sonoma, which is pretty much like an S10 type of truck. Today we're going to be replacing the rocker panels. So if we look, these rocker panels, they've seen some better days, that is for sure. When I bought the truck, the previous owner gave me these rocker panels. So Greg, if you're watching, thanks a lot, buddy. You're really helping out. And these are just folded sheet metal, so this should work just fine. Never done this job before, so I'm bringing you guys along for the ride, and you know, I'm going to show all my mistakes and whatever I do, and hopefully it turns out great, or at least acceptable. This truck is kind of just a work truck for me. I use it once in a while to haul stuff, and so not sweating too much over what could happen. So let's start, I guess. I'm going to start by overlaying the new rocker on top of this one, just to see how well it fits up and where I need to make my cuts. So there's still some rust over here on the left, not sure if you can see it, that we'll have to do additional repairs to fix. There's some rust right here, but so I'm laying this out, and to get a general sense of where I need to cut, I have these are really nice. This is a fast cap long nose marker, and one side has this really long narrow nose to get into places, and then the other side just has a regular chisel tip. Really handy, especially when it comes to machining and things. So okay, we have a line there. Well, I should probably let me clean this surface. Hold on. That should help me out a little bit. No. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I'm thinking about this here, and if you look in one of these holes, you can see that there's a whole back part to this. Like on my replacements, it kind of just you know, scoops around, but there is a back part that will connect these two. And given that I can't paint the inside when it's on, and I can't paint the inside when it's off because we're going to do some welding, it's going to burn away the paint, there needs to be a pretty, you know, it needs to be welded in nice so that there's no water leaks into the inside. That way, if there's water leaks, it'll rust from the inside out. This looks like it might be galvanized, but I can't tell. I'll know when I start welding it. So that means that, so to cut this, we're going to cut on these lines here, and then I'm going to have to go in the back and cut on this seam and then pull this whole thing off. And I'm hoping I don't need to take the door off, but I might have to, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Alright guys, the door is off. The steps will be in another video about fixing those hinges. So now we can sort of get to everything a little bit better, and we can start doing the fun stuff, which is cutting into the metal. So again, now with the door off, it's going to be much easier to see. We're going to put this approximately where it's going to go. I'm actually going to make scribe marks so it doesn't wash away. This paint's coming off anyway. And go. So one thing I forgot to mention is that there are some trims that lay down. Actually, here it is, right here. You can just get a pry tool underneath. I got a panel prying tool, and just pry that up. That comes out, and that lets you strip the weather stripping back. At some point, I'm going to need to pull this carpet out of the way, or at least block it, because we're going to be welding on this seam here, and don't want to catch anything on fire. That would be bad. So we will cross that bridge when we come to it. But for cutting, I'm going to use just this angle grinder because I think it's a little bit more surgical than like a bigger one. And I'm going to cut on the inside edge. And I am wearing goggles, full goggles. I don't mess around when it comes to grinding and stuff anymore. I've had too many close calls. So we're going to start here where it's most rusty. Okay, screw that. This is going to be much quicker. I think it'll be alright. Alright guys, we're taking off this trim on the inside. Now at the top there, you have a little hook that holds your suits and whatever. That's held in by a Phillips. Take that out. And then the seat belt has a little cover you just pry open, and then there's a T50 Torx that comes out, and that's what holds the seat belt in. And then you can pull this whole trim up and out of the way. I don't really care that the seatbelt's still attached to it, because we just need to have enough clearance to get everything out of the way down here. So if you look now, we have, since that trim panel's off, we can pull up on the weather stripping and put that out of the way. And again, I'm not going to fully take that off because there's no reason to. And now we can finish our cuts down there. Ooh, that smells pretty bad. Cutting into the glue or whatever.
Alright, I'm putting on my respirator because I don't want to breathe in any of that stuff, even though I already have. The last part to cut should just be the back edge, and then this whole thing should come out.
Okay, after some cutting, I finally got it out. Now this back piece was a lot more rusted than I initially thought, so I actually ended up just cutting that whole back piece out. This piece right here, it connects to this, and you can see that it's still kind of rusted over there. So that kind of, you see how the floor is kind of moving. Okay, so I've cleaned up all the edges and stuff with a grinder, and during the process I pulled up the carpet with this bungee cord, and I found another hole that was developing. I mean, it was pretty much holding on by a thread, so I just blew through that and got the good metal. Now I'm going to weld a patch over this, and I kind of shaped this guy sort of fit over like that. It'll need a little bit of hammer tweaking after I tack it in place. But you'll notice I have all this business around here. This is ceramic blanket. You could just rip it and put it wherever you want. I think this is rated to 2,500 degrees. So first of all, to do this right, you should remove the carpet and any flammables, okay? I'm lazy. Don't do as I do. I'm telling you right now, if you're going to do this, take out the carpet, take out everything that's flammable, okay? That being said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this. I'm going to have a very controlled weld to go around here very slowly. And we're going to go like that. I have a fire extinguisher right next to me just in case. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright guys, so for this I'm going to try something out. So I seem to have, so I have two welders available. I have my MIG, which is a cheap little MIG, and I got my torch. Now I've found that I seem to have better luck using the torch to weld sheet metal because it's nice and slow and I don't just blow through it. Now, again, I'm putting a flame next to this hot stuff, but I'm going to just test the waters. I'm going to go down here, far away from anything flammable, and we're going to see how well this works. And if it doesn't work so well, I'll switch back to the MIG, because the MIG is quick and won't allow the heat to heat up. So let's try this out. Okay, so that actually went pretty well. This bottom part is welded on, and then I hammered the top part more to get that welded on. So we're gonna stuff this back. This stuff did a really good job of blocking the heat. I'm gonna really stuff that in. And I'm just gonna shape this. And then I'm just gonna go around this whole thing and just patch this in. And after this, then we can start welding on the rocker panel. Okay, I had to do a little bit of grinding, but we're pretty good here. I got a nice weld all the way around. And the fiber blanket did really good to stop the heat. I mean, there's nothing is back here. So that was pretty good. That went pretty well. Okay, next we're gonna put the rocker panel on and just tack it in place and go from there. This is just another shot of the weld job. Not the prettiest, but it gets the job done, that's for sure. Like I said, with the torch, I never blow through the metal. I mean, very rarely, because it's so slow. And so I really like the torch a lot, but again, it's pretty dangerous in this application. So I took out the clips that hold the trim down, and I put on this this bar right there. that goes across, because there is a gap between the new rocker panel and the floor, and from the thickness of the saw blade. So I'm just kind of putting that back, and this bar is going to add some rigidity to the whole thing. So I'm going to kind of do this the same way. I'm going to tack it all around, and then run a bead and get that nice and connected to the floor. And then we'll put the rocker panel on and weld that up. I finished tacking this in a couple of places. Now I'm just going to fit this guy just roughly where he goes and see how this fit is. This here, it fits the best. Doesn't fit so well on this side. The most important thing I want to match up is this lip right here. Okay, I put vice grips on either edge to hold that lip in the right place. And looking in back behind here now, I also adjusted the bar a little bit. It's looking pretty good. I think I can bridge that gap. It's going to take a while though. I'm going to be here welding a while. I'm going to take this off, weld on that little the bar, and weld it to the sides too. And then I am going to weld this in. That should be it. And I know this is a little hack. This is pretty hacked up, but again, I don't really care that much about this truck. I am not inclined to spend tons of time trying to make this good again. I mean, I'm going to do a good job, but is it going to be the professional job? Absolutely not. So you body guys, you probably want to look away. Okay, so I welded it in. I had to jump a huge gap right here, fill all that in. Looks kind of scraggly, but the rest of this looks pretty good. So that's all welded on. So now I have a nice straight thing to weld to. It's providing that extra gap I need, and it's straight. It's not kind of like doing all this business. So now I just need to weld this. See this corner right here? I want to weld up onto this part right here. So this is actually a structural part, because again, remember, there was a whole back part on the old one that's not on the new one. And this will kind of give it more support and also fill in that gap. So it's coming together. And I also got a little bit on each end to weld on, although I probably don't really even need to do that. We'll keep trucking along. Okay, so I have it all fit up. The place that it fits the best is right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to tack it right here as best as I can. I'm really trying my best to mitigate warpage, because again, a torch, it's not the best for that kind of thing. Alright, so I'm going to heap on these evenly. Okay, here's one tack. Okay. Let's kind of hammer this back. We're going to tag it here. Alright, now we're gonna take that off. Okay, we're tacked in place now. So this was the best spot that fits. So I put a tack there, then I put a couple tacks here just to hold it. Then I tacked that corner, moved on to the other side, did the same sort of thing. Tacked this. This lip was a little bit over, so I had to hammer it in to sort of get touching the new rocker. Then I tacked in that corner, and now we're in there pretty good. So again, before you go to town with the welding, you really need to make sure the door closes. So the problem is, again, this area I can't get to when the door is on, and it's going to be a real pain to put the door on with the hinge pins and then punch them out when I need to get in here. So I'm just going to completely weld this area. I'm going to do a bit of hammering to make it more form-fitting. I'm going to completely weld this area in, make this part done, and then if I put the door on and it doesn't fit right, I can always cut it down here and then re-weld it on. That's not going to be an issue at all. So we are getting there. Okay, it's all welded up. Now I think I'm gonna just clean it up with the grinder. That way it's nice and smooth, and then I'll actually be done with this part. Now I could weld it onto this, onto this piece, but I don't. I think it's actually fine the way it is. That's super sturdy. So let me get the grinder. Okay, I cleaned it up pretty quick with a grinder. It's pretty smooth. I think I can still hit it a couple times at different spots, a few different spots to really smooth it out with a smaller grinding tool like a Dremel. But otherwise, that's pretty much on there, and looks pretty good. So next, I'm going to put the door on, and we're going to try to close it. And again, the door stuff is going to be in another video. So in the next scene, you're going to see the door on. All right, I don't have the spring in, by the way. So let's. Ooh, that's nice. No more dropping 1/2 inch when I open the door. No more needing to slam it. That's beautiful. And now I know the rocker is in a good spot. Everything is looking perfect. So this is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this already. Okay, I took the door back off because it was a lot easier to put on and off than I thought it was. So as you just saw, everything looks and works great. So now all I need to do, oh man, that door is heavy. All I need to do is weld the rest of this in, and that's gonna take a little bit of time. Alright guys, she's all welded in. Now this is the kind of thing that you could spend hours on, days even. Right? This is an art right here. Blending everything so it looks nice. And that it's a perfectly continuous surface. Now me, I don't care about any of that, man. Like, this is my work truck. It doesn't need to look pretty. It just needs to be functional and not rusting like crazy. And that's kind of what we have right now. So I'm stopping here, and we're just going to put a coat of paint on this. We're going to put primer for right now, then I'm going to match the paint later. Alright, I put some primer on there, just with the spray paint can, and that's good enough for me, right? So I'm going to match the paint as best as I can. Again, this is a beater truck, right? You don't go overboard. Now, there's a couple of seams. You can see the seams on either side here where I welded stuff together. But again, I could sit here for hours, and I really do mean hours, smoothing that metal out, adding more weld, using Bondo, sanding. But again, it's a beater truck, and I don't care about any of that. So we are going to just leave it, and I'm going to get some paint that is close enough to the color. Okay, we put the rocker panel on. It's painted a different color. So now we're going to put the door on. Alright guys, it's in. I put the door back on. The door stuff is in another video, but everything is just opposite. Everything to put it back together is just opposite of removal for the trim panels and the seat belt and everything like that. So this is it. You can see that I did not match the paint, but it is painted, so it's not going to rust. And as long as I fairly quickly get the right paint, I can paint that and match it, and then put the clear coat on it. But it's going to be good for the time being, so I'm pretty happy with it. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to do the same thing on the driver's side with the rocker panels, but that's for another day because I got to get stuff done with this. Again, I did not really do so hot of a job hiding the seams when I put the weld part on. You can see the other seam right there. I didn't really do the best paint job either. It was kind of a real quick. I literally just got spray cans, and it just right, super crappy. But again, this is my beater work truck. Super old. I got some more rust work to do around the whole thing, but that's gonna be it, I think, for this video and this repair. So thanks again for watching, guys, as I always say, and I will see you next time.